This is a video going out to Richard Coughlin, a YouTube user who is no longer with us in terms of being on the website YouTube. And there's been all kinds of weird circumstances which have brought about the demise, so to speak, of the YouTube channels that Richard Coughlin was using. And I think I speak for a lot of people, both those who were for you as well as those who were against you, Richard, that YouTube does not feel anywhere near as good since you have left YouTube. There's good and bad in all, and that goes for everybody, even the most saintly people in the whole wide world, those who are greatly revered by the public, those who have written great books or have appeared in great films or who have built bridges or designed some of the world's tallest buildings or gained their fame and popularity in any way whatsoever, or are multi-millionaires or billionaires. There's good and bad in all. And we all do something which is colloquially called fucking up. And when we do this, it can be because of many different reasons, often because our instincts or our drives have got a little out of whack one way or another. A sense of imbalance, for want of a better word. Now, when we do mess up, when we do make a big and glaring mistake that is as a result of one of our instincts or drives leading us astray or being a traitor to us, we should actually feel good. And the reason we should feel good is because something shocking has pointed out to us that we have done wrong, and in what way we have done something wrong, and why we have done something wrong. Maybe it won't give us all of the information that we need, but it'll be a step in the right direction. And the direction in question is that of change. And change, if done well or done properly, can lead to some great rewards. The most simple of which is not to muck up in the same way again later in life when we're even older, even more mature, and so on and so forth. You might think that as a person grows older, they naturally grow more mature. Well, my experience with engaging with a wide variety of different people, from the highest to the high and the lowest to the low, is that isn't actually true. Some people in their 50s and 60s can often demonstrate very serious behavioral traits of someone in their teens. Someone in their teens can show the behavioral traits of someone less than the age 10. Humans grow up at erratic rates, and no matter how old you are or how young you are still growing up and you are still changing, and sometimes you might need a bit of guidance or a bit of help or assistance, and there's various organizations which can help with that, or there's various books you can read. Your local lending library is free of charge just to walk in and browse around the self-developmental sections. Maybe it will take a touch of fiction, maybe a bit of science fact. As far as fiction goes, you can go to anything from forms of fantasy to books which have been written purely for the purposes of addressing a certain variety of pain or difficulty or emotional stress that people go through at various times in their life. And on the science fact side, maybe there's psychology, psychoanalysis, psychotherapy, or something which describes and illustrates an individuals and the various problems that they've got and how they went about trying to overcome them. And then, of course, there's the other means of contemplation, reflection, and meditation, which, again, can be a very broad and very complex subject. Now, I know that you're an atheist and you don't believe in God, but that doesn't really matter, because what I've just described to you is essentially a form of spirituality, and that form of spirituality is essentially taking charge of your maturity, taking charge of your upbringing, and taking charge of the kind of person that you want to be when you're older. If you want to get progress, there's one thing that I personally would recommend that you do not do, and that is to continually wallow in the regret of what has gone in the past. And I know that can be a hard thing. If someone turns around to you and says, don't think of a black cat, what is the first thing you do? You think of a black cat. And when I say, don't wallow in the negativity, is it more likely that you will wallow in the negativity or that you won't? Well, it's slightly semantically different, and as a result of that, I feel that you will at least get the point that I personally care for you and your suffering. You've outlined through your history on YouTube a number of different issues that you've gone through, and a number of different problems you've had to tackle. And from some of those, just from some of those, you may be able to get a bit of learning that you could apply to the situations you're in at the moment. And for the others, well, all I can hope is that you carry on through the process of contemplation, learning and growth to allow you to become better and stronger. But I will reiterate that YouTube just doesn't feel the same without someone of your wacky and sometimes obscene sense of humor, your strong desire for libertarian views and values, your drive towards justice, and in many cases the search for the truth. Now, these are some things that we don't see in many YouTube users, and you actually manage to build a lot of your career on trying to build bridges and trying to make people feel a part of a larger community rather than just trying to, fraction off into various different fractions or factions. And I think that that's really rather good. A lot of the drama videos on YouTube is just a question of we are this lot, we hate that lot, ha ha ha, isn't that amusing? But you actually try to bridge some gaps between the atheists and the theists, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, it's certainly one of those things that demarks you as being a different form of individual, and I would say a better form of individual, realizing that humans are just humans. Whether someone goes to church, wears a burqa, or would rather follow the writings of Richard Dawkins, people are still people, and they often have the same issues or the same drives and the same instincts, but they can often go slightly askew. And my recommendation to you, well, maybe it's my request to you, is to come back to YouTube and stop kicking yourself up the arse for things you've done in the past. I know it can be difficult, or it can be soul destroying when someone does what is commonly called an ownership video, or someone is aggressive or abusive in the comments. I mean, who of us hasn't received death threats after death threats, or hasn't received unpleasant or abusive comments here and there? Well, let those people have their fun. Nothing's going to happen to you. It hasn't happened to me. Come on. It's not so bad, really. Maybe you do need a bit of time off, and you need a bit of time for reflection and contemplation. Well, be a man and do it. But also know that probably the vast majority of your YouTube audience will still be here, ready and waiting for you when you return. Good fortune. God bless.